I'm just telling you, ladies and gentlemen, conservatives like me and Levin have been burned by the New York Slimes a million times when you think they're actually doing reporting and what they're doing is a hit piece. So I get this call from a New York Times reporter, a woman by the name of Davy Alba, who just specializes in ridiculosities. I mean, she protected her Twitter account after I exposed what she was doing. This is a woman who has tweeted that she couldn't find many violent episodes of Antifa or something like that. I'm like, oh, yeah, what? That's some reporting you did right there. Nice work reporting. So she reached out. And I know what she's doing. She reached out to me and Mark Levin and others. And what she wants to do is, just so you're clear. And so we buy ink by the barrel too here. So this is asymmetric warfare here, right? She's trying to write a piece that we're stirring the pot before the election and agitating and causing violence by exposing leftist calls for violence. If you're sitting here pulling your hair out, the remaining strands some of us have left, who knows how much of this I'll have left in the future. If you're yanking them out going, wait, she's writing a story about you fomenting violence by exposing the left fomenting violence. Yes. Yeah, trust me, that's the angle. Because it's the New York Times. They're not serious reporters. These are the same pee-pee hoaxers who told you collusion was real. These people have double-digit IQs. This is an actual story they're about to, I'm telling you, that's going to be the angle. So here's the text she sent me. It's all comes, they always do this, by the way. They write these ridiculous, this is my actual phone, a screenshot, and they write these milquetoast texts making you believe they're trying to do reporting and fact-finding. You know what I'm saying, Joe? So here's the text. I'll read it to you.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Dan. I wanted to be in touch about a story I'm writing for the New York Times, which is when I tuned it out. After I saw that, I was done. About this growing rumor on social media that there could be a Democrat-led coup on Election Day. It's not a rumor. I actually quote the Democrats calling for a coup. She goes on. I saw that you posted a couple of videos about this. I just wanted to reach out and ask for comment from you on your videos. That's not what she's doing. That's not what she's doing. Guarantee, I'm going to expose, when the article comes out, I'll expose her next week and embarrass her further. If she writes a fair piece, great, more power to you. But Joe and I both know, right, Paula? We know exactly what she's doing. We actually quote Democrats' calls for a street fight, a coup. I'm going to show you the stuff now in case you think we're making this up. And she's going to blame it on us, Republicans, for exposing the Democrats' coup. And what really has her freaked out is the interview I did. Was that yesterday's show? Thursday's show? I'm losing track of the week because we pre-recorded. That was yesterday's, right? Yesterday's show, Thursday of this week, episode 1365. We interview Michael Anton, who wrote the piece in American Mind called The Coming Coup, where he lines out, line by line, the Democrats' actual calls for a street fight and post-election chaos. That interview yesterday went nuclear. That show went crazy yesterday, which is interesting because we taped a lot of it in advance. The beginning we taped yesterday morning. It's freaking them out that we're exposing the liberals' calls for violence and chaos. It has them terrified because it destroys their whole narrative, Joe. And what's their narrative? You conservatives are you violent, nationalist, white supremacist, kooky, racist nutjobs. It's not us. That's them. Mm-hmm. That's it. They're the racists and the violent ones. And they don't like it that I have 2.4, 2.5 million, whatever followers on Twitter, 1.3 million on Parler, 1.5 million on Facebook, and that my account speaks the truth. And my Facebook account the other day, we had the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 most popular Facebook posts in the entire country. It's driving them wild. They're like, what do you mean? With the New York Times, we can't beat Dan Bongino? No, you can't. No, you can't. Too bad. So sad. Maybe if you told the truth, you'd have better luck. So that was Davy Alba's text to me. I responded back, of course, with an interesting text. That's up on my social media accounts, saying, I find it quite bizarre you're calling me for comment about leftist calls for violence. Why not call the leftists? I'm just asking. And I said, and by the way, it's not a rumor, their calls for violence. They're actual quotes. Quotes, quotation marks, right, Joe? What they've actually said.
Oh,
you may say, man. Dan, they're not quotes. They're not calling for violence. You're just making that up. Okay, let's produce the receipts. Davey Alba won't cover any of this, by the way. Here is the Transition Integrity Project, a liberal-led, these are prominent liberals, by the way. These are not small-time like ham and eggers. These are prominent liberals who are running this project, the Transition Integrity Project, where inside their own documents that have been released, they're calling for a street fight. Now, who's it being run by? Let's look. Oh, Rosa Brooks, former George Soros confidant there, and a guy named Nils Gilman. They launched the Transition Integrity Project in December of 2019 to focus on mitigating threats to democracy. Yeah, that's hilarious. Sure. Okay, so again, this is their document, just so you're all aware, because I know Davey Alba's desperate to cover all this up. This is the Transition Integrity Project, run by two leftists, Rosa Brooks and Nils Gilman. This is their own document indicating they're running it. That's their document, not mine. Again, this is called reporting for Davey, a disinformation specialist in and of herself. So here's Nils Gilman, the guy I just showed you, from their own report, running this project, calling for a street fight, not a legal one after the election. I'll get to that in a minute. Here's Nils Gilman's own Twitter account calling for the death of Michael Anton, who exposed the Transition Integrity Project and who we interviewed on yesterday's show. This is his actual Twitter account. At Nils_Gilman. Quote, Michael Anton is the Robert Brusselak of our times and deserved the same fate. Brusselak was a Nazi sympathizer who was executed. Now, Davey will do no reporting on this, so this is of no interest to it. That's his actual Twitter account. The founder of the liberal Transition Integrity Project calling for a street fight, not a legal one, after the election. That's a quote. We'll get to that in a second, too. We always produce the receipts here, folks. That's the guy's actual Twitter account calling for the death of people like Michael Anton, who I interviewed and who exposed what they were doing in their calls for a coup. I promise none of that will be in Davey's story. If it is, we will tip our hats and cover it. I mean that. If she wants to be an honest reporter and do it, I will sincerely tip my cap. And maybe I shouldn't be. Maybe she will write an honest piece. If she does, congratulations. I will cover it fairly. I'm just telling you, ladies and gentlemen, conservatives like me and Levin have been burned by the New York Slimes a million times when you think they're actually doing reporting and what they're doing is a hit piece.
You just heard Dan Bongino.